Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Victor Melcher and today I'm going to show you my color grading workflow using Dehancer. If you're unfamiliar with Dehancer, it is a film emulation plugin, but most importantly, it is a great color grading tool. And I've been using it for a lot of videos over the past month and I really enjoy the results that I'm getting. So yeah, if you're interested in more info about it, you can check out my full review on the channel, which I will have linked in the bio. And also if you're interested in picking up Dehancer for yourself, you can use my promo code Victor and get 10% off your purchase. Alright, so now let's get into it. Alright everyone, so now we are in DaVinci Resolve and we have 3 clips on the timeline. I selected 3 different clips with different lighting scenarios just so that you can see the variety of different looks that we'll be able to pull today. So yeah, so now we're going to get into our color tab and you're going to see that we have only one node, so we're going to press Option S. We're going to press it twice so we can have 2 other nodes. And then what we're going to do, we're going to click our 3rd node, scroll all the way down, drag and drop Dehancer, and this is what you're going to see right out the box. Now that Dehancer is on, we're going to go to our input and we're going to put in all of our camera selections. So I shot all of these clips on my Sony FX3 in S-Log3 sgamut3.cine. Just a quick tip also, if all of the clips that you're editing with are shot with the same camera, what you're going to want to do is select all of these, press Command V to copy, and then you're going to want to just paste it throughout all the clips that you're going to be color grading. And this will save you a little bit of time just so that you don't have to choose your camera for every single clip. But now let's go back to the first one and we are going to start the grade. So I'm just going to get rid of the clips right there. And you'll see, so right now it looks quite green. So we're just going to start. I'm probably just going to adjust the temperature a little bit and maybe the tint. And also before I do anything, I like to go down to the film grain and just disable that, just so that I can get a clear image as I'm color grading. So now we're gonna go back up, and the film profile always starts on Kodak Vision 3250D, which is a movie film stock, but personally I haven't really gotten any looks that I like out of that. So I like to kind of just mess around and see which colors look the best. And Cine still actually looks pretty good. You can push and pull. I actually kind of like that right out the gate. Next, we're going to see our black point and our white point, which is kind of like highlights and shadows. And sometimes I mess with this, or sometimes I can go into the very first node and just drop the highlights and boost the shadows a little bit. Just because sometimes with the black point and white point, it can kind of tend to look like a fade depending on how much you push it. But yeah, for this, we'll actually probably just use black point and white point. So we're going to right click this first node, reset that. And now we're going to go on to print, which is actually one of the coolest features. And the grade doesn't look quite finished, but print's actually where a lot of the magic happens. So I typically like Kodak Endura glossy paper. That kind of gives it this instant contrast. Or Kodak 2383 print film, which it looks good, but it's very intense for my preference. So we're gonna go back to glossy paper. And obviously we're not done yet, just because it is quite dark. And I kind of want to add a bit more saturation into the mix. There we go. Color head, personally, I don't mess too much with it, but I'm actually gonna drop this to cyan. I actually like that. This is without. This is with the cyan. That actually looks pretty good. This kind of just gives it a instant, it looks more of like a fade than just lifting the shadows. So I'm gonna reset that. I'm gonna go to this first node and I'm going to boost the shadows. I'm gonna boost it like 28. There we go. We're actually almost to a look that I really like. And now before we get into the film characteristics, I'm actually going to go to the second node, and this is where I'm going to tweak her skin tones. And if you have more nodes, you can label them. So I'm going to label this skin tones. So what we're going to do is going to go to a spot where I can see her skin. And now we're going to click this dropper icon, select her skin, click this little magic wand so you can see what is being selected. And we're just going to tweak these scales just so that her skin is the only thing that is being selected. All right, so that's good enough in my opinion. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to maybe see if I can cool her down a little bit. Honestly, that looks great as is. Yeah, that looks solid. Okay, cool. One more thing I noticed, I want to saturate the green a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to click Option S one more time. And now there's going to be a third node, and I'm just going to select the greenery. And what we're going to do, I'm going to change the tint. I'm going to make it more green. Maybe boost the saturation of that a little bit. And there we go. I think it just gives the green a little bit more of a pop that I really like. There we go. We got a solid looking color. So now that we've got this color graded, we're gonna go down to the actual film characteristics, which is really cool. And the thing I really like about Dehancer is you can use it to color grade, and if you don't want any film looks like grain or anything like that, you can enable and disable it. So we have grain, halation, bloom, vignette, film breathe, and gate weave. So I typically don't use gate weave or film breath or vignette. So as you can see, what bloom is doing is it's causing a nice little glow around the highlights. And let me see if I can amplify it just so that you can really, yeah. So I didn't shoot this with a mist filter, but it's acting as if I did. So I'm just gonna drop it to 50 is good enough. It's soft enough and I like that. And now let's go to halation. So what halation does is it kind of causes this red glow around the highlighted areas as well. And you can find that in more vintage lenses and stuff like that. Yeah, I think I actually kind of rock with the halation. Okay, cool. So now film grain, once you enable it, you'll see there is a ton of grain. I'm just gonna drop the amount of grain. I'm gonna boost film resolution up to 100, just so it's a little bit more fine. And that's it for this clip, so yeah. And for our next clip, it is a talking head bit that I did for a YouTube video. So starting off, I'm just gonna go all the way down. I'm gonna disable film grain. For these talking head bits, I don't like to add any film grain, halation, or any of that. So we're not gonna touch that for this clip. But where we will start is the top. So this is typically where you would start, but I like to find my film stock first, just so that I can see the looks and temperature that I'm getting, and then I can adjust from there. So we're gonna go down to our film stock and let's go through it. So Cine Still is not the vibes for today. We'll start at Kodak Portra 400 and then just go from there. So now for expand, I'm just gonna boost up the blacks a little bit. And then now we're gonna go to our print, and most likely, no, that's too much. It's gonna be Kodak Glossy Paper Endura. Boost the exposure a little bit. And this clip definitely is going to take a little bit of work to get where I want it to be. And for print, we're going to boost the color density, maybe the tonal contrast. And we're almost at a point that I actually really like. I think I'm going to switch to film stock. So now we've switched to film stock and we're at a better point. I actually like where we're going so far. I'm gonna go back down to print and let's boost up this exposure a little bit. And what we're gonna do now is, let's see the temperature. And now I'm actually gonna go back to this first node. I'm gonna boost the saturation just a little bit. And aside from my skin tones, which we're gonna fix right now, I actually like the colors that's going on everywhere. So now we're gonna go to node 2 and we are just gonna select my skin tones. All right, so now we got our skin tone selected, and I think I'm finding just a bit too much magenta. So I'm gonna change the tint a little bit towards green, and I'm gonna drop the highlight a little bit. And there's just a tad too much saturation, so we're gonna take some of that out. All right, and that is it for the color on our talking head clip. What I really like about Dehancer is that if I want, I can add on all the film characteristics and make it as filmic and gritty as possible, or I can strip all that down and I can give it a clean but still nice look with very pleasing colors. And now let's get into the last clip. All right, and this is the last shot, and I like that there's a lot of earth tones going on, so this will be really fun to color grade. So starting at the film emulation, we are just gonna go down the line. We will start with Cine Still. Air color actually looks kind of cool. Let's see what we get when combining with glossy paper. I might have to rock with Cine Still again, just because I think it might serve the looks for this specific shot. Drop the temperature because that is just bothering me. And I'm gonna turn the grain off just for now, just so I can really see the colors going on. Okay, that's pretty sick. That's at a decent exposure, but I'm gonna go back to node 1 and I'm just gonna boost the shadows and maybe drop the highlights a little bit. All right, there we go. So the color is just a little too strong, so we're gonna drop that. I'm gonna go to the black point and white point. I think for this one, I'm gonna click the 2383 print film. I think that just gives it a bit more of a stylized look. It stylizes what I want for this shot. So now tonal contrast. Yeah, that's pretty sick. Okay. So now, oh, excellent. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Honestly, I think we're pretty much just about there with this look. Let's boost the exposure a little bit more. Cool. I'm gonna go to the first node. I'm gonna just drop the highlights a little bit, boost the shadows just a little bit. All right, cool. And now we're gonna go to skin tones. I think I'm gonna see if I can cool his skin tones down just a little bit. All right, that is actually perfect. I really like that whole look. Okay, sick. For this one, I do want to add on to that film look a little bit. I'm gonna drop the grain as low as I can because I think this is just a crisp shot and it feel like it would look good with very minimal grain. I had a Nisi Black Mist, a bloom filter, but I'm gonna turn on the bloom just cause that looks pretty sick. Okay, cool. All right, and that is it for this clip. This shot was an incredibly simple grade and I love how it turned out. Alright everyone, so that is it for my color grading workflow using Dehancer. 3 to 4 nodes, and that does the job for me. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.